In the beginning of the movie, we see a girl walking through the snow. She spots a white horse and starts running. She stumbles upon a wrecked boat on the shore and discovers dead bodies inside, which terrifies her. Suddenly, a little boy appears and points his sword at her. She gently moves the sword aside and embraces him. Later, we encounter the Wampanoag tribe gathered in one place, discussing how the boy is believed to be a demon. They plan to abandon him. The girl from earlier arrives and decides to adopt him. He sleeps and has a dream where his harsh father instructs him to take the life of a poor girl and humiliates him. He wakes up and sits in front of a fire. The story then jumps 15 years ahead. The boy is named Ghost, and he has grown older and is still living within the tribe. The children in the tribe are cheerful. Ghost is no longer called a demon and is accepted socially, but he still doesn't hold the position of a warrior. The Pathfinder arrives at the tribe, accompanied by his daughter, Starfire. Ghost becomes interested in her and observes her from behind a tree. The children are enjoying themselves, and Ghost tries to shake hands with one of the boys who likes Starfire. However, the boy rejects the handshake, indicating his interest in Starfire. The Pathfinder engages in a conversation with the village chief, discussing the recent war and the death of his successor. As a result, the Pathfinder decides to choose one of the native citizens as his successor, but he is uncertain whom to select. The chief mentions the upcoming Circle of the Braves celebration and asks the Pathfinder to lead the ritual. The Pathfinder informs the chief that the prophecy is close to being fulfilled. The ritual begins, and Ghost is present. The Pathfinder tells Ghost that he doesn't have the right to participate because he is still haunted by demons from his past and needs to confront them. Ghost asserts that he will find his own path. He goes to train in the dark, where his other, kinder father visits him and assures him that, despite being from another tribe, he is still one of them. Afterward, Ghost goes to see Starfire near the river. He bids farewell to his mother and takes a little girl with him into the forest. He is responsible for taking care of her and advises her not to wander too far alone in the forest. Suddenly, Vikings emerge out of nowhere and attack the girl. She returns to her mother crying. Shortly after, the Vikings launch an assault on the village, beheading people, shooting arrows into their bodies, and setting houses on fire. Ghost watches his village being destroyed from a distance, and within minutes, the village is filled with lifeless bodies. Ghost finds his mother's lifeless form. He hears a nearby sound of a one-on-one fight between two Vikings, where one Viking loses his life. Ghost approaches the scene, and the Vikings challenge him to battle, assuming he is defenseless. Ghost displays his power, grabbing a sword and striking one Viking in the eye, causing his eyeball to pop out. Ghost steals his shield and flees into the forest, with the Vikings in pursuit to claim his head. A chase ensues, and Ghost continues to run. The Vikings shoot arrows at him, but Ghost dodges some and shields himself from others. He hides underwater in a lake, and as one Viking passes through, Ghost surprises him by emerging from the water and defeating him. He repeats the process with another Viking. Ghost attempts to escape, but an arrow strikes his back, causing him to fall. He rises to his feet, using his shield as a makeshift skateboard to glide over the snow. He maneuvers through logs and kills his enemies. Eventually, he falls into a river and climbs a rocky mountain until he reaches a jungle. Meanwhile, the disappointed Vikings realize they were unable to capture his head. Ghost continues his journey, traversing an icy path. As he walks, the ice beneath his feet begins to crack. Nevertheless, he presses on and ventures deeper into the forest, seeking shelter in a cave. People from his tribe, led by the Pathfinder, have been following him. They discover a piece of cloth outside the cave, confirming their belief that Ghost is inside. Upon entering the cave, they find an injured man, Ghost himself. Starfire approaches him, and suddenly, a bear appears. The Pathfinder distracts the bear with a sound and then kneels down, successfully killing it. Meanwhile, the Vikings are closing in on their location. The Pathfinder's team creates a fire and starts celebrating. One individual tries to flirt with the Pathfinder's daughter, but she ignores him and ascends the stairs where her father was performing rituals on Ghost to cure him. Once her father departs, she moves closer to Ghost. After Ghost comes down, he reveals to everyone how fearful the Vikings are. He explains that the Vikings will kill everyone except for one person, whom they will keep alive as a means to reach the next village, but they will cut out that person's tongue. One man suggests that they fight back, but Ghost points out that they are outnumbered and outmatched since the Vikings have weapons and armor. He suggests that they surrender. Upon hearing this, the villagers blame Ghost for leading them into this situation, even though he had warned them earlier to leave him behind. The villagers begin evacuating out of fear, while the Vikings have already reached the cave and are getting closer. At this point, Ghost no longer cares about his own life. He is determined to take as many Viking heads as possible before his death. The Pathfinder's daughter tells Ghost that they cannot abandon him, him, but the Pathfinder insists that Ghost must choose his own path in life. Ghost sets off on his new path, accompanied by one follower who persists in following him despite Ghost's attempts to dissuade him. As they travel through the forest, they reach a cave where Ghost plans to trap and kill the Vikings. Meanwhile, the Pathfinder's daughter has disappeared from the group. One man decides to find her and bring back the head of the Viking leader, known as the Dragon. However, his friend reveals that he isn't going to kill the dragon leader. He is going there because the Pathfinder's daughter went to meet Ghost again. In the cave, Ghost is confronted by the Pathfinder. Ghost asks why the Pathfinder is there, and the Pathfinder responds by asking why Ghost should be asking him. Ghost picks up his sword, expressing his trust in it, and the Pathfinder strikes his own belly with his spear. Ghost is shocked and wakes up, realizing it was just a dream. But then he encounters Starfire, and he tells her she shouldn't be there. Starfire explains that there are two wars in a person's heart, one of hate and one of love. Ghost asks which one wins, and Starfire tells him that the one he believes is true. They share a kiss and become intimate in the cave. Afterward, they hear a loud horn and realize the Vikings are nearby. Using the darkness and his knowledge of the forest, Ghost manages to kill some of the Vikings one by one, employing various strategies. He eventually retreats on a horse, which was part of his plan. He leads the Vikings to an area where he has set up traps. Starfire and the other follower wait for the right moment to unleash the trap, resulting in the deaths of many Vikings. Ghost stands atop a stone with one Viking head, rolling it in front of the Vikings to humiliate them. Meanwhile, the man searching for Starfire arrives and blindly runs into the trap, meeting his own demise. Unfortunately, he is still alive, but Ghost saves him and brings him to safety. As soon as Ghost leaves, the man shows his bravery and shoots arrows at the Vikings, sacrificing his own life. Ghost reaches a cave that has been completely raided by the Vikings. He manages to hide from some and kill others. Starfire encounters a Viking, but she picks up a skull and strikes him in his groin, killing him. She continues to hide from the Vikings, but another Viking finds her. The man following Ghost arrives and saves her, risking his own life. Ghost makes his way there and plays hide and seek with the Vikings. He discovers his teammate dead and feels saddened, but another Viking attacks him, prompting him to flee. Eventually, he reunites with Starfire, and they attempt to escape. They successfully hide, and the Vikings fail to find them. As a last resort, the Vikings torture a member of their tribe by placing his dead body over a fire to draw Ghost out. Suddenly, an arrow hits the man, killing him. Pathfinder threw the arrow to grant him an easier death. In the midst of the battle with the Vikings, Ghost and his allies put up a fight but are outnumbered and unable to resist. They are captured, and the Vikings begin whipping the Pathfinder, demanding that Ghost reveal the location of the nearby village. Ghost refuses, and the Pathfinder endures further punishment. Starfire, anguished by her father's suffering, witnesses it all. Gunnar, the Vikings' leader, also reveals that he knows about Ghost's real dad. He tells Ghost that his dad was a great Viking who died in a shipwreck. The Pathfinder urges Ghost to use the strength of his enemies to defeat them. The Vikings continue to torture the Pathfinder until his death. Gunnar threatens to end Starfire's life if Ghost does not tell about the villagers' whereabouts. They pass through the forest, and the Vikings mistreat Starfire. Ghost stops them, but the Vikings want to fight. However, Gunnar intervenes and stops the fight, and they continue their journey. After a while, they reach the village but find it empty. There are no villagers present. Gunnar hits Ghost and asks him where the villagers are. Ghost informs them that they are over the mountains. Ghost takes the lead, and the Vikings follow him. He guides the Vikings westward toward the icy lake. Initially, they oppose the idea, but eventually, they decide to follow him. When they reach the icy path, Ghost knows that the Vikings will not listen to him, so he suggests going around the lake. However, the Vikings claim that they are not cowards and choose to go through the lake. As they step onto the ice, it begins to break, and the Vikings rapidly fall into the icy water. Despite their bravery, Ghost turns their power against them, just as the Pathfinder had suggested. Some Vikings manage to survive, while others perish in the icy cold water. Ghost spots the Pathfinder in the lake, who suggests that Ghost is the new Pathfinder. The Vikings save him because they need him. When one Viking tries to blame Ghost, Gunnar reminds them that going through the lake was their own idea. It wasn't Ghost's fault. They continue their journey and reach a narrow path beside the hill where only one person can walk at a time, or they risk falling off. Recognizing the danger, Ghost suggests that they all tie themselves together. After one Viking falls off, Gunnar agrees to the suggestion, but he ties Starfire to him. Ghost leads the way. After they reach a wider area, Ghost asks Starfire to hit him. To reciprocate, the Vikings give Ghost a whip. He uses the whip to strike the last Viking on the path. Once the Viking falls, all the other Vikings fall with him, except for Gunnar. Gunnar and Ghost fight. Ghost cuts Starfire's rope and throws Gunnar down, but he manages to hang on. In order to save his own life, he sacrifices his own comrade. Gunnar climbs to the top and throws a stone at Ghost, but Ghost holds on. Eventually, Ghost also climbs up and engages in the final fight with Gunnar. Ghost throws Gunnar off the cliff. Although some Vikings survive the fall, snow falls from the cliff, leading to their demise. Ghost is the only son of the Vikings left. Following Starfire, he arrives at the village where they confirm that the prophecy has been fulfilled. Starfire becomes the new Pathfinder, and Ghost continues to protect the village.